Lin Moyu realized that he had overlooked a detail. There are not only waterfalls and clear rivers, but also the gravel under the rivers. These stones are sharp on one side and rounded on the other. The sharp point is staring in one direction. Lin Moyu had ignored it before, thinking that it was normal for some stones to exist in the water. But now when I look more closely, I find something unusual. The directions of the stones are too uniform, and the water flow cannot be so regular. There is always some origin, and there will always be islands of error between the stones. Moreover, this is not the real world, but a world where runes have evolved. The stone should not have signs of wear and tear in the first place. Lin Moyu moved forward along the river and came to the fork of the canyon again. At this time, he discovered that after the river branched into the valley, the stones in the water disappeared. At this time, all the stones point to the canyon on the far right, uniformly. Lin Moyu believed in his own judgment and walked towards the canyon on the right. He walked slowly, paying attention to the stone. Just less than 3 meters away from the canyon on the right and about to enter, the direction pointed by the stone changed. The stone suddenly turned at the same time, pointing to the canyon in the middle. Sure enough, the correct path will indeed change. If you can't find the stone, you won't be able to choose the right one just by luck. Only by waiting for the time and luck to get the wood god flower. Lin Moyu knew that he had finally solved this game. He walked toward the middle canyon, still focusing on the rocks. He wasn't sure if the stone would change again. Fortunately, nothing changed this time, and Lin Moyu walked into the canyon. There were no more stones to guide the way under the river in the canyon, so Lin Moyu still let the skeleton god general open the way and fight his way through. Advertisement. At the same time, he paid close attention to every detail in the canyon. The rune beasts and scenery in the canyon are exactly the same as before, with no changes. In fact, the scenery in the 3 canyons is exactly the same. Even the position of every blade of grass and the placement of every rock are exactly the same. All the way to the center of the canyon, a 6-petaled flower appeared on a huge gray stone. Lin Moyu remembered this gray stone, which had been found in the canyon 3 times before. Such a dazzling and unique stone, you will never forget it once you take a look at it. There was no wood god flower on this stone before, but this time there was it. That is, the sleeping god flower will only appear after you choose the right one. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry to get it. He didn't walk very fast this time, and the skeleton god general was only a short distance ahead. He didn't encounter the talisman beast guarding the wood god flower. Then let's see what the talisman beast that protects the wood god flower looks like. Lin Moyu approached the wood god flower. When he was still 5 meters away from the wood god flower, the river beside him exploded and water columns rose into the sky. At the same time, accompanied by the unique roar of snakes, a giant python with flashing runes all over its body rushed out of the river and came straight out of Lin Moyu. The aura of Mushinhua's guardian talisman beast is not weak. It has reached the 5th level of the god. It is much stronger than the talisman beasts killed along the way. Unfortunately, they were facing the skeleton god general. The skeleton god general raised his bone sword and wielded his sword energy. After the pure white sword energy passed, the guardian talisman beast disappeared into thin air. It seems that by the time I get the wood god flower for the 10th time, the talisman beast should be able to reach the high level of god. The talisman beast became stronger every time, but it was only a high-level god, and was not taken seriously by Lin Moyu. He took the wood god flower generously and then walked out of the canyon. See the familiar waterfalls, familiar rivers, and familiar stones again. Lin Moyu smiled, knowing that the same experience would happen again. Finding the right path is no longer a problem. The next step is to test the combat power. In the last few passes, it is necessary to achieve the strength to fight beyond the level, which is impossible for ordinary gods to do. Holy Talisman Tianzuan has set various thresholds to select successors, but in Lin Moyu's opinion, the difficulty this time is not as good as the Xuanqing Secret Realm. Advertisement. After tirelessly walking the same path and doing the same thing again and again, Lin Moyu obtained 9 intermediate-level wooden flowers. For 9 times, Lin Moyu didn't meet anyone else. According to the data, after each selection, it seems that it is still the same area, but in fact it has entered another area. The mid-level difficulty is the same as the low-level difficulty. It is also divided into countless areas, but each area is exactly the same. There were also people who met in a middle-level difficulty. After meeting, the difficulty of the secret realm would increase. However, there are only 7 people including Lin Moyu in the intermediate difficulty level of the secret realm, so the probability of meeting them is extremely low. By the 10th time, all the rune beasts in the secret realm had reached the peak of the 6th level of God, and their combat power was already comparable to that of the skeleton god general. But in terms of numbers, the skeleton god will completely crush them, and there is still no pressure. Based on this calculation, the combat power of Mu Xinhua's guardian talisman beast will break through the 6th level of a god and reach the level of a high-level god. Just as Lin Moyu expected in advance. Lin Moyu even judged the combat power of the rune beasts and the high-level difficulty through the difficulty here. He guessed that it would eventually reach the level of half a step to the other side. If you want to obtain the inheritance of the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, your realm cannot exceed the peak of the Godly Lord, and your true combat power cannot be less than half a step to the other side. 0. Please give me flowers. No. It's not that it's not less than half a step to the other side, it's that it's better than half a step to the other side. It's very difficult. It seems that not many people in the human race can do it. Among the peak gods, there are very few people who can reach the combat power of half a step to the other side. Even the former Zhu Qiwu may not be able to achieve it. Zhu Qiwu once fought against Banbu Bianbu. Although he defeated the opponent, he also paid the price. Facing half a step to the other side, Zhu Qiwu who can save his life is already a rare genius. The Tianzuan in ancient times had a really high vision. Ordinary people simply cannot penetrate their eyes. When we came to the wood god flower again, the river exploded with water splashing all over the sky, falling like raindrops. Advertisement. Having experienced the exact same situation 9 times, Lin Moyu is used to it. Amidst the roar of the rune beast, the undead dragon knight rushed out silently and surrounded it. 0. Outside the secret realm, a deity from the Yu family suddenly appeared. Someone's out. His appearance attracted the attention of a group of people, and many people immediately gathered around to ask about the situation. The deity of the Yu family was generous and told his experience in the secret realm. His experience is similar to the information on the Human Emperor Network. He won 3 wooden flowers in total. Although he did not tie the record, it was still a good result. The gods in the city know about the Yu family and how huge it is, and behind the Yu family there is Mrs. Yu. So even the high-level gods were very polite to him. The main purpose of their inquiry is actually to see if they really went. Will it make any difference if I go in early? There seems to be no difference now, exactly the same as before. From this point of view, the truly powerful one is Lin Moyu. Being able to bring them in is beyond the imagination of all the gods. Then the deities of the Yu family came out one after another, and they basically all got 3 divine wood flowers, which was a good result and proved the combat power of the deities of the Yu family. Yu Chengfeng was the last one to come out. He entered the high-level difficulty and got the high-level divine flower. When Yu Chengfeng entered, he was at the 8th level of the divine being, and when he came out, he had already reached the 9th level of the divine being. He directly used the wood god flower in the secret realm to advance himself in the secret realm. After being promoted, his strength increased greatly and he got another wood god flower. Yu Chengfeng obtained a total of 4 high-level wood god flowers, tying the highest record in the secret realm. Yu Chengfeng's strength is amazing, and suddenly someone discovered that Lin Moyu hadn't come out yet. The 7 gods of the Yu family have all come out, even Yu Chengfeng has come out, but Lin Moyu has not come out yet. Lin Moyu's fighting prowess can't help but make people think. Someone asked, "Senior Yu, do you think Lin Moyu can break the record? Yu Chengfeng said, it is inevitable to break the record. I think Mr. Lin is very likely to pass the secret realm. The gods were all in an uproar. They didn't expect Yu Chengfeng to speak so highly of Lin Moyu. And he called Lin Moyu sir, with respect in his tone. For some reason, Yu Chengfeng had blind faith in Lin Moyu and felt that there was nothing Lin Moyu could not do. Lin Moyu said before entering the dungeon that he would try to pass the level. Yu Chengfeng chose to believe in Lin Moyu. Since Lin Moyu said he wanted to pass the customs, he would definitely succeed. In the secret realm, Lin Moyu stepped into the high-level secret realm. In his hand was a very special wood god flower with 10 petals. 2, 8, 3 is well known, and the petals of the sleeping god flower are distinguished by 3, 6, and 9. 10 petals, never seen before. At that time, he fused 10 intermediate level wood god flowers, but it did not open the path to high-level difficulty. Later, he took out the wood god flower that he had fused before, and the 2 already fused wood god flowers immediately fused for a second time, allowing him to overcome the difficulty again. After the second fusion, the wood god flower became what it is today, with 10 petals. Lin Moyu doesn't care about this, as long as he can overcome the difficulty. The secret realm of high-level difficulty is full of flowers, plants, and trees, which is a bit more lively than the low-level and intermediate levels of difficulty. Lin Moyu felt different. Although he knew that it was all falsehood brought about by the evolution of runes, he seemed to be able to see the pursuit of the runes together from the falsehood. Lin Moyu feels the years from here. The nose can smell the smell of flowers and plants, both fragrant and rotten. Advertisement. Runes make the whole world more vivid and closer to the real world. No matter which secret realm before, there was no existence of time. No matter how long it has been, everything is new. Now, Lin Moyu not only smells the smell of rot, but also sees trees with rotten roots. Holy Talisman Tianzuan is pursuing life. He wants the runes to have real life. Unfortunately, he seems to have failed. The falsehood remains false and has not become reality. Perhaps his greatest ideal is to turn the ancient warrior into a real living being, but the result still ended in failure. If there had not been the invasion of the Black Blood realm, Holy Talisman Tianzuan might still have a chance, but now. Lin Moyu guessed in his mind while carefully observing the changes in the surrounding environment. Based on the previous 2 experiences, every detail in the secret realm cannot be missed. Any special feature may become a guide. There are flowers, plants, and trees everywhere here, on the ground, on both sides, and above your head. The flowers, plants, and trees above the head grow upside down and correspond to the ground, giving the illusion of a mirror. But those things that grow upside down on the top of the head are also real. Flowers, plants, and trees are everywhere, forming a real dense forest. Could it be that I'm in a huge cave? Lin Moyu did not send out the skeleton god general. This time he used the Death Dragon Knight. Not long after the Death Dragon Knight was dispatched, he encountered the first wave of rune beasts, and a fierce battle broke out between the 2 sides. The combat power of the rune beasts here has been upgraded to the 7th level of gods, and they are genuine high-level gods. There are runes shining all over the body, and the runes have evolved into the power of rules. However, it is still inferior to the Death Dragon Knight. The Death Dragon Knight has already reached the peak of the 7th level, while these runic beasts have only just reached the 10th level. In one-on-one situations, the Death Dragon Knight can finish off his opponent within 5 minutes, not to mention that Lin Moyu always likes to fight in groups. Thousands of Death Dragon Knights bombarded the rune beast indiscriminately. Advertisement. In the blink of an eye, the rune beasts returned to dust, turned into runes again, and disappeared into the secret realm. The combat power displayed by the runic beast was in line with his expectations. If nothing else happens, combat power won't be a problem. It seems that the key to clearing the secret realm is to rely on observation and solve the puzzles set by Xingzai Tianzuan. The secret realm is not very big, only 10,000 kilometers in diameter, and the Death Dragon Knight has explored it thoroughly in a short time. It is indeed a closed cave, with flowers, plants, and trees in all directions, both in the sky and on the ground. The density of vegetation is far greater than the previous two difficulties. Some plants and trees have grown taller than Lin Moyu. In order not to affect his sight, Lin Moyu could only fly up and stand in midair. He flew very slowly, carefully checking the situation in the secret area. No waterfalls, no water, no rocks. There is no body left behind after the rune-beast dies, and there is nothing directional. Then what is the crux of the problem? Senior Tianzuan, what is the mystery you left behind? Lin Moyu couldn't find a solution to the secret realm for a while, and time passed by. Lin Moyu knew very well that time was limited. When the time comes, he may be able to get the Wood God Flower, but he will definitely not get the inheritance of the Heavenly Saint Talisman Tianzuan. In the secret realm information, many people get the 10th Wood God Flower in about an hour after entering the secret realm store. In other words, the time left for you is 10 hours, and you must solve the puzzle left by the Holy Talisman Tianzuan within 10 hours and get the Wood God Flower in the correct way. Instead of saying that after 10 hours, the secret realm will automatically send the Wood God Flower over. For others, it would be nice to get the Great God Flower. But for me, this means I am eliminated. I don't know if there will be a second chance. What is it? 2 hours have passed in the blink of an eye, and still nothing has been discovered. Advertisement. Then try the stupid way. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and countless god generals appeared around him. He summoned a total of 100 million skeleton generals and began to search the secret realm. The so-called stupid way is to use the characteristics of the Wood God Flower. As long as you get close to the Wood God Flower, the Guardian Talisman Beast will be attracted. Lin Moyu certainly knows that this is a stupid way, but this stupid way does not violate the rules. In the low-level difficulty, he had the experience of killing the Guardian Talisman Beast first and then getting the Wood God Flower, which had no effect on the result. If you find the Wood God Flower in this way, and then work backwards from there, you may be able to find the correct method. However, Lin Moyu does not have high hopes for this method. He thinks it may not be feasible. With the means of Holy Talisman Tianzuan, he would not find it so easily for himself. This has been proven at the intermediate level of difficulty. In fact, Lin Moyu was right. After searching for 5.1, the skeleton god still found nothing. 4 hours have passed, and there are still 6 hours left. It seems that stupid methods are unreliable. Then look for it again. If you still can't find it in the end, use explosive luck. Lin Moyu sighed and could only continue searching. If he used explosive luck, he believed he would be able to find it. Then you can enter the second time and buy yourself another hour. No matter what, make sure not to be eliminated the first time. The flowers and plants here are very dense, but also very messy and irregular. Trees seem to have no pattern, and there are many branches and no directionality. The only strange thing is that there is also a roof on the cave, and it's upside down. If I stood on the roof of the cave... Lin Moyu suddenly had a flash of inspiration and discovered something he had never noticed. Lin Moyu came to the top of the secret cave and stood upside down at the same time. For a moment, he couldn't tell which side was the roof of the cave and which was the ground. He even had the illusion that when he first entered the secret realm, he was actually upside down. Only now do we really stand on the ground. This illusion is very strong. There is no such thing as top or bottom in the starry sky, so top and bottom must be relative. Lin Moyu changed his perspective and finally saw some different pictures. The ground before became the top now. Looking further away, Lin Moyu saw that the trees in the secret realm vaguely seemed to form a rune. This rune feels familiar. This is a guiding rune. I didn't expect the holy rune to be used as a puzzle. But this rune is not complete, only 1/3. The other half is here. Lin Moyu's heart moved and he flew up again to change direction. The top and bottom of the cave, where the trees each constitute 1/3 of the rune. The other third is around. Lin Moyu combined these trees in his mind to form 3 or 4 runes. Then he stretched out his hand to draw the runes. The runes were not complicated and were formed by the fusion of 2 basic runes. As long as a talisman master above the 7th level can draw it and fuse it. The difference is that it is difficult for other talisman masters to achieve perfect fusion of runes. But Lin Moyu can perfectly integrate runes. This rune is not complicated or difficult in his eyes. Advertisement. The real difficulty is how to see that the runes are made of trees and then combine them. After all, there are too many flowers and plants here, and there are too many disturbing factors. If you are not particularly familiar with runes and observe extremely carefully, you will not be able to tell it at all. A rune formed on the fingertips. After the rune was activated, it immediately turned into a stream of light and flew into the distance. The rune flew to the edge of the secret realm, disappeared into an inconspicuous bush, and disappeared. Lin Moyu keenly saw that behind the grass, a wood god flower with 9 petals appeared. This wooden myth is as white as jade, with a shimmering light all over its body. It no longer looks like a flower, but more like a piece of fine white jade. The fragrance of flowers penetrates into the soul, shocking Lin Moyu's spirit. The wood god flower does have the effect of enhancing the soul, especially the high-level wood god flower, which has a great effect. Lin Moyu determined that there was no wood god flower in this patch of grass before. It was because of the runes that the big god flower appeared here. Runes are the key to this secret realm. Runes not only guide the way, but also activate the arrangement of the holy talisman to truly obtain the wood god flower. Lin Moyu went to pick the wood god flower, and there was a vibration from the side. A big tree suddenly grew crazily, reaching hundreds of meters in height in an instant. This ordinary big tree transformed into a rune-beast in the blink of an eye, and it was also a high-level rune-beast, and the power of rules in it was quite strong. The branches whipped down like whips. Lin Moyu did not dodge or even pay attention. The Death Dragon Knights were the first to meet them, their bodies flashed with golden light, and their golden armor talismans blocked the whips. They surrounded the big tree and started fighting in groups. The big tree is very strong, not weaker than the Death Dragon Knight. Unfortunately, it cannot defeat 4 hands with 2 fists, and it cannot last long in the face of siege. Lin Moyu successfully picked the wood god flower and said to himself, another piece of Tianzuan's puzzle has been solved. In less than a minute, the scream of the rune beast was heard in the ears, and the giant tree of the rune beast was killed and turned into runes and dissipated. The guardian talisman beast died, the wood god flower was obtained, and the secret realm roared and shook violently. Lin Moyu raised his head and saw a large hole in the sky above his head, which was shrouded in hazy mist. In the mist, a huge wood god flower loomed. Advertisement. This wood god flower has 12 petals and looks like it has completely turned into jade. Its whole body is emitting white light and is extremely holy. Kagami Cow. Lin Moyu knows that everyone who gets the high-level wood god flower will see the king of wood god flower. Therefore, there are many records about the wood god cow in the data. But I just saw that no one has ever been able to obtain the wood god cow. Looking at the wood god king flower, Lin Moyu said to himself, you belong to me. In the mist, a portal appeared, and Lin Moyu rushed into the portal and entered the next secret realm. Exactly the same cave, seemingly no different environment. The Death Dragon Knight took the lead in clearing the rune beasts in the secret realm. The rune beasts were slightly stronger than the previous time, but they were still overwhelmed by the Death Dragon Knight. Lin Moyu looked up at the big tree in the secret realm and combined it in his mind to form a text. The runes have changed. Lin Moyu found that the runes this time were different from the previous time, and it was a brand new combination of runes. Compared with the previous runes, the 2 runes combined this time are a little more complicated. But it still didn't stump Lin Moyu. Not only did he draw the runes, he also achieved perfect integration. The runes fly out and activate the wood god flower. The Death Dragon Knight dealt with the rune beast, and Lin Moyu spent the wood god among the people. The third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time. Lin Moyu experienced the secret realm 6 times, and the difficulty of the secret realm became higher and higher every time. The rune beasts are getting stronger and stronger. By the third time, the rune beasts are as powerful as the Death Dragon Knight. Of course, this refers to a one-on-one situation. On the fourth pass, the rune beast reached the 8th level of the god, officially surpassing the Death Dragon Knight. At this time, Lin Moyu dispatched the Legion ruler. Under the leadership of the Legion ruler, the combat power of the Death Dragon Knight Legion increased significantly, and the rune beast was killed again instantly. Advertisement. Rune beasts are just a test of combat power. Another test is for runes, and the difficulty is also constantly increasing. The runes are becoming more and more complex, and the more complex the runes are, the more difficult they are to see clearly. On the fourth pass, Lin Moyu discovered that the nature of the flowers and plants he had previously classified as interference factors had changed. Flowers and plants are no longer disturbing factors, they have also become a part of the formation. The trees become the backbone of the rune, while the flowers and plants become the 357 twigs of the rune, both of which are indispensable. The difficulty of the runes increased and became more and more complex. Lin Moyu realized that the holy talisman Tianzuan was passing on his runes in this special way. In the process of observing and combining runes again and again, my understanding of the runes is gradually deepening, and I have gained some new insights. Runes can not only be combined, but also split. A complete rune can be split into 2 or even more. The runes that seem to have been separated can still be connected and maintain their original functions. Lin Moyu thought of the ancient box. The runes on the ancient box were like this. Take apart an ancient talisman and cover it on the ancient box. The seemingly scattered runes are actually still a whole that maintains its original function. In this way, Lin Moyu thought of many new uses of runes. Especially when used in a talisman array, it can make the talisman array more flexible and changeable. This is the legacy. In Tianzuan's inheritance, data and information are only one aspect. The information is like words in a book, not vivid. Now, it's more like teaching you step by step. If you can understand it, you can inherit it. If you can't understand, then there will be no follow-up. Lin Moyu has a deeper understanding of the holy talisman Tianzuan. The requirements for Tianzuan's inheritance are actually very high, and he has all-round requirements for the inheritors. Regardless of combat power, understanding, acumen, or luck, none of them are indispensable. On the 7th visit to the secret realm, Lin Moyu finally felt a bit of pressure. From this time on, all the rune beasts in the secret realm have reached the 9th level of gods, and can barely be regarded as peak gods. Even if the Legion ruler leads the Death Dragon Knight Legion, it will take a lot of effort to kill them. Lin Moyu saw this in his eyes, and his heart was like a mirror. The Skeleton King will be dispatched next time. Fortunately, each secret realm lasts 10 hours, and the secret realm is not too big, so Lin Moyu doesn't have to worry too much. He summoned 300 legions of Death Dragon Knights, which were distributed throughout the secret realm, and at the same time eliminated the rune beasts. This kind of difficulty is indeed very high for other practitioners. Even if those peak gods come over, they will have a headache when they are surrounded by runic beasts, and when they are exhausted, they will not be able to fight forever. Needless to say, the 8th time, even the 4th time, facing a large number of 8th-level Divine Talisman beasts, the peak Divine Lord will fight until exhaustion, not to mention the existence of Guardian Talisman beasts. Lin Moyu followed the Death Dragon Knight Legion and carefully observed the distribution of trees in the secret realm, taking into account the flowers and plants. Gradually, he frowned, and the difficulty of the runes in the secret realm increased again. Lin Moyu could see that there were 3 runes this time. There is a circle around, at the top, and at the bottom. Moreover, the runes were dismantled, and part of the top runes was on the ground. And some of the runes on the ground are around. They are connected in a strange way. Some are vines, some are flower veins. It has formed a pattern in which you have me, and I have you. The runes were dismantled and distributed in various areas, and Lin Moyu had to use these tiny connections to recombine them and draw the correct runes. There are thousands of kinds of runes, and some runes are very similar. As long as there is a slight misunderstanding, the drawn runes will be wrong. Advertisement. Then the final fused runes will not be correct, and the wood god flower will not be able to appear. Lin Moyu could quickly find the correct runes before, but this time Lin Moyu's speed also slowed down. He combined and restored all kinds of detailed information in his mind. Outside the secret realm, gods come every day. At this moment, the arena has been built, but no god has entered to compete. They are not in a hurry. Lin Moyu is the center of their conversation. Almost 5 out of 10 sentences revolve around Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu has been in the secret realm for many days and has never come out. Some people even speculated that Lin Moyu had died inside. Although there is no danger in the mystic realm, it cannot be said that there is absolutely no danger. Some people died in the secret realm because they did not use the escape talisman in time. There are not many such people, but there will be some every time. If Lin Moyu really died inside, it would not be surprising. But when these words fell into Yu Chengfeng's ears, they were immediately refuted. Yu Chengfeng, who was like a scholar, expressed disdain for such remarks. He knows how strong Lin Moyu's combat power is. Even if he had a life-and-death fight with Lin Moyu, he would only die. It is absolutely impossible to say that Lin Moyu will die in the secret realm. But Yu Chengfeng won't say it. If you want to guess, I'll let you guess. He told the god of the Yu family who was traveling with him, just let me know the news about the secret realm, and give these old guys a good slap in the face. Several Yu family gods also showed smiles. They looked at those gods as if they were watching a joke. 4 hours later, Lin Moyu finally successfully drew the 8th rune. 3 seemingly uncomplicated basic runes, using the soul as a bridge, were perfectly integrated together to form a brand new rune. Advertisement. The fusion of 3 runes is a difficult problem for many runes masters and is not easy. Only some 7th level rune masters and above can complete the fusion of 3 runes, but it is not possible every time. As for perfect fusion, it is naturally even more impossible. After the runes were fused, they exploded in the air, creating a huge gap in the secret realm. Countless mist poured out from the gap, and at the same time, a giant tree several thousand meters tall grew out of the mist. Starry Sky Giant Tree? Lin Moyu was slightly stunned. This tree was very similar to the giant tree in the starry sky, but it was made of runes and just simulated the shape of the giant tree in the starry sky. Behind the giant tree is a wood god flower with 9 petals. The runes have become more difficult, the difficulty of the secret realm has increased, and even the appearance of the wood god flower has become different. Lin Moyu said with a smile, Tianzuan has so many tricks, and he looks a little more advanced. This giant tree of guardian talisman launched an attack on Lin Moyu, and the ruler of the legion led the Death Dragon Knight Legion to rush forward. 100,000 Death Dragon Knight legions were so densely packed that they didn't know how many levels they surrounded the giant tree. The leader of the legion rushed to the front, raised his sword, and launched a fatal blow. The critical strike is his strongest attack, gathering the power of the entire legion. A slash of the knife brought out a large ray of light and cut off countless branches. But when the knife fell on the giant tree of the rune-beast, it couldn't move any further. The powerful defense of the rune-beast giant tree blocked the attack of the legion ruler. The Death Dragon Knight breathes dragon breath, and the immortal flame carries the law of immortality and burns blazingly. But it's still hard to hurt it at all. The guardian talisman beast twitches its branches crazily. Once the Death Dragon Knight is hit, it will be shattered on the spot. In one round of beating, tens of thousands of Death Dragon Knights were killed on the spot, and more than half of a legion was killed or injured on the spot. The undead spiritual magic was activated, the Death Dragon Knight came back to life, and the two sides continued to fight fiercely. Advertisement. The Death Dragon Knights and Legion rulers can't really hurt the Guardian Talisman beasts, and the Guardian Talisman beasts can't kill them either. Lin Moyu knew that if he continued to fight like this for several days and nights, there would be no results. His time is limited and his fingers are tapping. The skeleton throne emerged from the immortal flames. The 10,000-meter-tall skeleton king stood tall in the secret room. The bone sword was swung in the flames, slashing out a sword light. Spell, Kill God. The signature technique, the sword of the god of craftsmen. The sword light exploded on the Guardian Talisman beast, and a large hole was blown out of the Talisman beast on the spot, almost breaking at the waist. The Skeleton King is the true peak god, and his combat power is much stronger than the Guardian Talisman beast. With just one sword strike, the Guardian Talisman beast had already lost half of its life. Then the Skeleton King rushed forward, and sword light fell like raindrops. In the blink of an eye, the Guardian Talisman beast was chopped into pieces. Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. Every time the high-level god is missing one level, his combat power is the difference between heaven and earth. The ruler of the Legion was already at the peak of the 8th level, and could only scratch his skin. The Death Dragon Knight couldn't even hurt him, so it was still up to the Skeleton King to decide the outcome. After getting the Wood God Flower, Lin Moyu stepped into the portal and began to enter the secret realm for the 8th time. The difficulty increased again on the 8th and 9th passes, but not by much, and they were all solved by Lin Moyu. Until the 9th high-level Wood God Flower was obtained, a dark portal appeared in front of Lin Moyu. The portal is like a man-eating monster, as if it wants to swallow Lin Moyu. Behind the portal, there is a faint whirlpool spinning. All the changes indicate that the 10th time will be unusual. Lin Moyu looked at the entrance and felt that the 10th trip to the high-level difficulty secret realm was going to be unusual. But he can't quit now, he must move forward. Put away the Wood God Flower and stride into it. The picture in front of me became dim, and the whole person felt like he was in the starry sky. In the lingering mist, starlight kept coming, but there was no starlight law that could be felt in the starlight. Lin Moyu steps on the galaxy of starlight law and has the clearest sense of starlight law. These starlights are not ordinary starlights, but artificial illusions. He himself is still in a secret realm, and everything in the secret realm evolved from ancient talismans. Lin Moyu is not in a hurry, he chooses to wait and see. The fog is gradually receding, and the picture in front of us is becoming clearer. He indeed entered a starry sky, a false starry sky evolved from ancient symbols. Congratulations, my successor. Familiar voice, from Xingfu Tiandao. Lin Moyu looked forward, and in the starry sky, hundreds of stars lit up at the same time to form a rune. The runes reflected a throne, and the holy talisman Tianzuan was sitting on the throne leisurely. This time Lin Moyu felt a trace of soul, and Qingde Tianzuan left a trace of soul here again. 547 This ray of soul obviously has its own will, and is more powerful than the one in the Xuanqing secret realm before. Lin Moyu saluted to the holy talisman Tianzuan. This junior has met the Tianzuan. Holy talisman Tianzuan chuckled. Yes, the little guy is very polite. Congratulations on passing the previous test. You are better than I imagined. Advertisement. A mere second-level god has combat power comparable to that of a peak god. Even in my time, this was rare. I am very curious about you, don't resist, let me take a look. In the starry sky, the stars were shining brightly, and countless rays of light came from all directions and reflected on Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's heart tightened. He wanted to refuse, but he couldn't. Holy Talisman Tianzuan did not give him the right to choose at all, Lin Moyu could only accept it. Anger was rising in his heart, and Lin Moyu felt that Holy Talisman Tianzuan had gone too far. Even if you are Heavenly Lord, you cannot pry into my privacy like this without my permission. The Holy Talisman Tianzuan in front of him was different from the one in Xuanqing secret realm. His temper was not so bad-tempered and his personality was not so arrogant, but he made Lin Moyu feel even worse. Faintly, Lin Moyu disliked Xingfu Tianzuan and felt that this guy was not a good person. The soul of Holy Talisman invaded Lin Moyu's soul world and wanted to pry into the soul. In the soul world, the world-burning fire suddenly erupted, and a fierce scream came from the mouth of Xingtian. Thick flames suddenly rose from the body of the Holy Talisman, and the immortal flames instantly swallowed its soul. In the immortal flames, the Holy Talisman Tianzuan screamed repeatedly. Lin Moyu could feel that the soul of Saint Fu Tianzuan had been severely injured and was being burned by the immortal flames. This time the immortal flame was different from the one activated by Lin Moyu himself. The flame contained the power of world-burning fire. This kind of power can even burn the world, which is extremely terrifying. But now it's just fire, not big enough. If it is powerful enough, it can instantly burn the remaining soul of the Holy Talisman to ashes. No matter how weak the remnant soul left by Holy Talisman Tianzuan is, it is still the remnant soul of Tianzuan. The remnant soul of the Heavenly Lord is fully capable of suppressing the Holy Lord. It can be said that he is not weak. But he couldn't stop the fire that burned the world. Advertisement. Lin Moyu is more interested in the world-burning fire. If the world-burning fire is strong enough, can it burn the real Tianzuan to death? Maybe it really can. Lin Moyu is looking forward to this. Looking at the screaming Holy Talisman Tianzuan, Lin Moyu had no sympathy at all. This is entirely his own fault and he deserves it. After a while, the flames on Saint Talisman's body finally slowly extinguished. Saint Talisman looked at Lin Moyu with lingering fear and said in a trembling voice, "How can you have his flame?" His flame? Lin Moyu thought of the mysterious master who was more terrifying than Tianzuan. It is not difficult to analyze from the words of Holy Talisman Tianzuan that the world-burning fire is unique to that mysterious master. Otherwise he wouldn't have said such a thing. The burning fire may be a symbol that has meaning beyond the flame itself. Lin Moyu did not answer, but looked at the Holy Talisman Tianzuan quietly. After such a burning, the remnant soul of Holy Talisman Tianzuan was at least half weak, and it began to dissipate uncontrollably. Lin Moyu saw a hint of fear and resentment in his eyes. No, this residual soul gave birth to self-awareness. Lin Moyu thought of a not-so-good possibility. The remnant soul has been preserved from ancient times to the present. In order to ensure that the remnant soul does not dissipate, the Holy Talisman Tianzuan must have arranged some means to nourish and preserve the remnant soul. Moreover, there are obviously more remnant souls left here. They are so powerful that it is not impossible to give birth to self-awareness. In this way, he figured it out. Why did the last secret realm change? There should not have been such a change in the first place. He should have gone through the 10th secret realm as before, and then fused the wood god flower and obtained the inheritance. It was because of this remnant soul that gave birth to self-awareness. He no longer wanted to do what the Holy Talisman Tianzuan had said, he wanted to have his own ideas. Combined with his previous actions, Lin Moyu finally understood why. Advertisement. Lin Moyu's eyes turned cold. You don't want to pry into my secret, but you want to seize my body. Remnant Soul's eyes changed, revealing a hint of confusion. What are you talking about? How can I swallow you up? You enter here, pass the test, get recognized by this Heavenly Lord, obtain the inheritance, and become the successor of this Heavenly Lord. You will be my disciple from now on. How could I take you away from me? Looking at his clumsy performance, Lin Moyu sneered, your performance is too clumsy. You also said that you are a god of heaven. You dare to do it but don't recognize it. Do you still deserve to be called Wu Zun? How dare you be so disrespectful? Remnant Soul roared angrily. Lin Moyu waved his hand. I've waved it off. I don't want this inheritance. If you ask me to leave, I'll pretend it never happened. Remnant Soul said angrily, you have to take this inheritance even if you don't want it. It's not up to you. He finally stopped acting. His eyes were fierce and murderous. The entire starry sky was shaking, and endless power came from all directions, as if it was going to crush Lin Moyu to death. Lin Moyu had no fear at all and looked at him calmly. He had already guessed this answer. No matter what, the remnant soul is just a remnant soul. It is his instinct to become a living being. How could he let himself go after finally waiting for someone like him? Lin Moyu said, "You should know that Tu Sha will not succeed." Remnant soul sneered, "Although you have his flame, you are not him after all. As long as I kill you, his flame will naturally disappear." Lin Moyu spread his hands helplessly. "In that case, we don't have to talk anymore. If you want to kill me, you can try." As soon as the words fell, countless undead legions appeared in the starry sky. Billions of skeleton gods will fly out and attack the stars in the starry sky. There are so many stars arranged here. These stars are the power of the remnant soul, and they can be connected to form various runes. To deal with the remnant souls, the first step is to destroy these stars. The stars lit up quickly, and countless starlights intertwined into a large number of runes. The runes either turned into flames or turned into thunder, overwhelming the undead army. The originally silent starry sky suddenly became extremely lively. Seas of fire, seas of thunder, and ice storms appeared one after another, overwhelming the undead army. Every rune is very powerful. Although it is not an ancient rune, its power has reached the limit of advanced runes. Every attack was infinitely close to the other side. The undead army died in large numbers and was completely defeated. Lin Moyu felt inferior. If he were to draw these runes, he would definitely not be able to achieve such power. After all, he is Tianzuan, and this rune is really strong. Remnant Soul gritted his teeth and let out a cruel laugh. "Just give up. Although you have many summons, you can't stop me from killing him." Jigwai was killed by this heavenly lord, and then his body was taken away by the heavenly lord. Even if you have his flame, you can't control this flame. You only have one way to go. Lin Moyu ignored him. He was just a remnant soul and would die soon. No matter what he did. He looked at the runes in the starry sky with interest and did not pay attention to the battle situation. There are enough undead legions, and there are undead souls, so there won't be any problem for a while. Lin Moyu took this opportunity to admire these runes, which he wanted to learn. He knows every rune, and he has drawn some of them, so why are the powers different? This is a very interesting thing. If he can figure it out, it will be of great benefit to his way of runes. The stronger the runes are, the stronger the runes they form will be, and the fused runes will also become stronger. The foundation is everything, that's right. Lin Moyu compared carefully, looking for the differences between himself and the other party. Advertisement. The first difference is that the soul power carried by the runes is different. The runes of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan use the soul power of the Tianzuan realm, which is stronger than mine. The second difference is that these runes seem to have undergone some changes. Generally speaking, they have not changed. There have been some changes in details, making the runes more powerful. It should be the changes made by Holy Talisman Tianzuan based on his understanding of the runes. It seems to be closer to the Tao. Runes are the principles that cultivators understand from the runes of the big world, so this is not necessarily completely correct. After the Holy Talisman Tianzuan reached the Tianzuan realm, he revised the runes based on his understanding of the Tao, making the runes closer to the runes of the big world. After understanding these 2 points, Lin Moyu already knew what to do. He also drew a rune. The rune was called Thunder, which was the same as the Thunder rune in the starry sky. The Thunder Talisman drawn by Lin Moyu is also not weak. With his own understanding of the runes, coupled with the soul of the saint, the Thunder Talisman is enough to exert the 4th level attack power of the god. The power of the runes is 2 levels beyond his own realm, which is already considered top-notch, far exceeding that of ordinary runes masters. Then Lin Moyu began to adjust, using the Thunder Talisman in the starry sky as a sample to fine-tune his formation. Ordinary talisman masters don't have this ability, but Lin Moyu does. The soul power wraps the runes and fine-tunes them. Some details and the connections between strokes changed slightly, and Lin Moyu clearly felt that the power of the runes was getting stronger. The attack power of the Thunder rune has been increased from the 4th level of the god to the 5th level of the god. At this moment, Lin Moyu felt that the runes had become more natural and harmonious, creating a natural and Tao-like feeling. Lin Moyu realized that what he did was correct. Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord's way of runes has reached an astonishing level. I can copy his runes and quickly improve my understanding of the runes. With the progress, Lin Moyu became more confident and continued to fine-tune the Thunder Talisman. After a while, the power of the Thunder Talisman became stronger again, reaching the 6th level of God. The power of the runes exceeds the 4th level of one's own realm, leaving other runes far behind. However, this has reached its limit and cannot be improved further. Advertisement. Lin Moyu immediately began to draw another rune. The second rune was named the Sea of Fire rune, and once again copied the Starry Sky runes for fine-tuning. Fine-tuning is not about following the same pattern, but learning how to adjust and constantly accumulating experience. When you have enough experience and master it, other runes can be adjusted even if there is no comparison. Lin Moyu feels that this opportunity is great, and it is not much worse than the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan. The remnant soul finally discovered that something was wrong. The undead army could not kill them all, and they kept killing so many people. Rune attacked like crazy, and it was no use even though the Starry Sky had been smashed. The remnant soul became anxious. He didn't have much time, and activating the runes required a continuous consumption of energy. If this continues, he will be consumed to death. He looked at Lin Moyu. There were so many undead legions that they covered Lin Moyu's figure so much that he never saw what Lin Moyu was doing from the beginning. This time he looked carefully, and after a while he finally saw clearly what Lin Moyu was doing. You actually copied the runes of this heavenly lord, how brave. Lin Moyu sneered, don't flatter yourself, this is not your rune, you are just a remnant soul of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. After the birth of consciousness, you regard yourself as the real Tianzuan? To put it bluntly, you know shit. 0, please give me flowers. These words stimulated the remnant soul, and the remnant soul roared like a wild beast. If you dare to speak to me like this, you are seeking death. He began to draw runes. As the remnant soul of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, he possessed part of the memory of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord and naturally drew the runes. It's just that drawing runes requires a lot of soul power, and he would definitely be reluctant to do so. In order to kill Lin Moyu, he no longer had any scruples. He hated Lin Moyu to death, and burned half of his remaining soul with a fire that burned the world. A 3-dimensional rune was quickly drawn. Lin Moyu was wary and whispered, Ancient Rune. The Ancient Talisman is at least in the other side realm and is extremely powerful. Advertisement. In order to kill Lin Moyu, Remnant Soul did not hesitate to waste his soul power and drew an Ancient Talisman. After the drawing of the Ancient Talisman was completed, Lin Moyu could clearly feel that the residual soul was weakened by 3 points. At this moment, his soul power is only 1/3 of what it was at its peak. Based on his soul power, he could not draw a second Ancient Talisman. If he draws another Ancient Talisman, he may collapse on the spot, let alone seize his body. An Ancient Talisman, although powerful, is not impossible to deal with. The Ancient Talisman exploded in the Starry Sky and turned into a big tree. Try the power of the Starry Sky giant tree. Remnant Soul gritted his teeth and sneered. Lin Moyu looks weird and looks like a giant tree in the Starry Sky. It seems that the Holy Talisman Tianzuan likes the giant Starry Sky trees very much. In the secret realm of high-level difficulty, the giant Starry Sky trees protect the wooden flowers. It's just that the tree in front of you is transformed from a complete Ancient Talisman, making it more lifelike and more powerful. The giant tree in the Starry Sky appeared on the battlefield as if teleporting, with countless branches waving out. Wherever the branches passed, the undead legions were wiped out one after another, unable to stop its attack. The golden armor talisman was like a piece of paper in front of it, useless. The power of powerful rules spreads freely, and the giant tree in the Starry Sky has a sweeping posture. You are dead, Starry Sky giant tree, kill him. Remnant's soul issued an order to lock Lin Moyu. The giant tree in the starry sky immediately rushed towards Lin Moyu, sweeping its branches along the way and forcibly creating a path. Lin Moyu can feel that the giant tree in the starry sky has a combat power equivalent to that of the other side, but his real strength will not be stronger than that of the other side. In his eyes, it was similar to the white stars in the Xingho clan. In that case, let me give up. Lin Moyu sneered. The ancient talisman and jade piece appeared in his hand, and at the same time, the unique aura of the original magic technique rose from his body. The originally silent starry sky suddenly became extremely lively. Seas of fire, seas of thunder, and ice storms appeared one after another, overwhelming the undead army. Every rune is very powerful. Although it is not an ancient rune, its power has reached the limit of advanced runes. Every attack was infinitely close to the other side. The undead army died in large numbers and was completely defeated. Lin Moyu felt inferior. If he were to draw these runes, he would definitely not be able to achieve such power. After all, he is Tianzuan, and this rune is really strong. Remnant's soul gritted his teeth and let out a cruel laugh. Just give up. Although you have many summons, you can't stop me from killing him. Digwai was killed by this heavenly lord, and then his body was taken away by the heavenly lord. Even if you have his flame, you can't control this flame. You only have one way to go. Lin Moyu ignored him. He was just a remnant soul and would die soon. No matter what he did. He looked at the runes in the starry sky with interest and did not pay attention to the battle situation. There are enough undead legions, and there are undead souls, so there won't be any problem for a while. Lin Moyu took this opportunity to admire these runes, which he wanted to learn. He knows every rune, and he has drawn some of them, so why are the powers different? This is a very interesting thing. If he can figure it out, it will be of great benefit to his way of runes. The stronger the runes are, the stronger the runes they form will be, and the fused runes will also become stronger. The foundation is everything, that's right. Lin Moyu compared carefully, looking for the differences between himself and the other party. Advertisement. The first difference is that the soul power carried by the runes is different. The runes of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan use the soul power of the Tianzuan realm, which is stronger than mine. The second difference is that these runes seem to have undergone some changes. Generally speaking, they have not changed. There have been some changes in details, making the runes more powerful. It should be the changes made by Holy Talisman Tianzuan based on his understanding of the runes. It seems to be closer to the Tao. Runes are the principles that cultivators understand from the runes of the big world, so this is not necessarily completely correct. After the Holy Talisman Tianzuan reached the Tianzuan realm, he revised the runes based on his understanding of the Tao, making the runes closer to the runes of the big world. After understanding these 2 points, Lin Moyu already knew what to do. He also drew a rune. The rune was called Thunder, which was the same as the Thunder rune in the starry sky. The Thunder Talisman drawn by Lin Moyu is also not weak. With his own understanding of the runes, coupled with the soul of the saint, the Thunder Talisman is enough to exert the 4th level attack power of the god. The power of the runes is 2 levels beyond his own realm, which is already considered top-notch, far exceeding that of ordinary runes masters. Then Lin Moyu began to adjust, using the Thunder Talisman in the starry sky as a sample to fine-tune his formation. Ordinary talisman masters don't have this ability, but Lin Moyu does. The soul power wraps the runes and fine-tunes them. Some details and the connections between strokes changed slightly, and Lin Moyu clearly felt that the power of the runes was getting stronger. The attack power of the Thunder rune has been increased from the 4th level of the god to the 5th level of the god. At this moment, Lin Moyu felt that the runes had become more natural and harmonious, creating a natural and Tao-like feeling. Lin Moyu realized that what he did was correct. Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord's way of runes has reached an astonishing level. I can copy his runes and quickly improve my understanding of the runes. With the progress, Lin Moyu became more confident and continued to fine-tune the Thunder Talisman. After a while, the power of the Thunder Talisman became stronger again, reaching the 6th level of God. The power of the runes exceeds the 4th level of one's own realm, leaving other runes far behind. However, this has reached its limit and cannot be improved further. Advertisement. Lin Moyu immediately began to draw another rune. The second rune was named the Sea of Fire rune, and once again copied the Starry Sky runes for fine-tuning. Fine-tuning is not about following the same pattern, but learning how to adjust and constantly accumulating experience. When you have enough experience and master it, other runes can be adjusted even if there is no comparison. Lin Moyu feels that this opportunity is great, and it is not much worse than the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan. The remnant soul finally discovered that something was wrong. The undead army could not kill them all, and they kept killing so many people. Rune attacked like crazy, and it was no use even though the Starry Sky had been smashed. The remnant soul became anxious. He didn't have much time, and activating the runes required a continuous consumption of energy. If this continues, he will be consumed to death. He looked at Lin Moyu. There were so many undead legions that they covered Lin Moyu's figure so much that he never saw what Lin Moyu was doing from the beginning. This time he looked carefully, and after a while he finally saw clearly what Lin Moyu was doing. You actually copied the runes of this heavenly lord, how brave. Lin Moyu sneered, don't flatter yourself, this is not your rune, you are just a remnant soul of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. After the birth of consciousness, you regard yourself as the real Tianzuan? To put it bluntly, you know shit. 0, please give me flowers. These words stimulated the remnant soul, and the remnant soul roared like a wild beast. If you dare to speak to me like this, you are seeking death. He began to draw runes. As the remnant soul of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, he possessed part of the memory of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord and naturally drew the runes. It's just that drawing runes requires a lot of soul power, and he would definitely be reluctant to do so. In order to kill Lin Moyu, he no longer had any scruples. He hated Lin Moyu to death, and burned half of his remaining soul with a fire that burned the world. A 3-dimensional rune was quickly drawn. Lin Moyu was wary and whispered, Ancient Rune. The Ancient Talisman is at least in the other side realm and is extremely powerful. Advertisement. In order to kill Lin Moyu, Remnant Soul did not hesitate to waste his soul power and drew an Ancient Talisman. After the drawing of the Ancient Talisman was completed, Lin Moyu could clearly feel that the residual soul was weakened by 3 points. At this moment, his soul power is only 1/3 of what it was at its peak. Based on his soul power, he could not draw a second Ancient Talisman. If he draws another Ancient Talisman, he may collapse on the spot, let alone seize his body. An Ancient Talisman, although powerful, is not impossible to deal with. The Ancient Talisman exploded in the Starry Sky and turned into a big tree. Try the power of the Starry Sky giant tree. Remnant Soul gritted his teeth and sneered. Lin Moyu looks weird and looks like a giant tree in the Starry Sky. It seems that the Holy Talisman Tianzuan likes the giant Starry Sky trees very much. In the secret realm of high-level difficulty, the giant Starry Sky trees protect the wooden flowers. It's just that the tree in front of you is transformed from a complete Ancient Talisman, making it more lifelike and more powerful. The giant tree in the Starry Sky appeared on the battlefield as if teleporting, with countless branches waving out. Wherever the branches passed, the undead legions were wiped out one after another, unable to stop its attack. The golden armor talisman was like a piece of paper in front of it, useless. The power of powerful rules spreads freely, and the giant tree in the Starry Sky has a sweeping posture. You are dead, Starry Sky giant tree, kill him. Remnant Soul issued an order to lock Lin Moyu. The giant tree in the Starry Sky immediately rushed towards Lin Moyu, sweeping its branches along the way and forcibly creating a path. Lin Moyu can feel that the giant tree in the Starry Sky has a combat power equivalent to that of the other side, but his real strength will not be stronger than that of the other side. In his eyes, it was similar to the white stars in the Xingho clan. In that case, let me give up. Lin Moyu sneered. The ancient talisman and jade piece appeared in his hand, and at the same time, the unique aura of the original magic technique rose from his body. Original spell, Gather. Lin Moyu's aura continued to improve, breaking through the 7th level of deity in the blink of an eye and becoming a high-level deity. Then the breath was like a rainbow, reaching the peak of divine status, only half a step away from the other shore. Remnant Soul showed doubts. Why did your realm suddenly improve so much? What spells did you use? Why can't I understand it? It turns out he doesn't have these memories. Lin Moyu sneered in his heart. The Remnant Soul was just a Remnant Soul after all, and it was impossible to get all the memories of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. What he has is only part of it, the memory and knowledge given by Holy Talisman Tianzuan. It is normal not to know the original spell. Lin Moyu will not explain. 10 drops of colorful water and 100,000 power of faith burn at the same time, and together with the soul power, they are injected into the ancient talisman jade piece. A big fist appeared out of thin air and slammed into the giant tree in the starry sky. The ancient talisman also reached the other side realm with one punch, which was no worse than the giant tree in the starry sky. The original 500 technique, Strong Troops. The second original spell was activated, and at the same time, the immortal flame burned blazingly in the starry sky. 5 skeleton thrones emerged, and 5 10,000-meter skeleton kings stood up from the thrones. The multicolored water and the power of faith are burning brightly. Each skeleton king has hundreds of drops of multicolored water and millions of power of faith, combined with powerful military skills, pushing the skeleton king's lethality to the limit, almost to the other side. The golden sword appeared in his hand, and it also had hundreds of drops of colorful water and millions of power of faith bonuses. Lin Moyu also enjoyed the same treatment as the skeleton king. Remnant Soul shouted, "What is this? Why don't I know why? What methods did you use?" He instinctively felt that the colorful water Lin Moyu produced was dangerous and a great threat to him. But there are no such things in his memory, he doesn't know. Lin Moyu sneered and waved the sword together with the skeleton king. Spell, Kill God. 6 sword lights flashed across the starry sky. Advertisement. The stormy branches suddenly stopped, and 6 sword lights exploded on the giant tree in the starry sky. At the same time as the sword light exploded, the ancient talisman hit it with a punch. The giant tree in the starry sky collapsed on the spot, and the tree body was smashed to pieces by sword light and giant fists. The ancient talisman shattered and gradually dissipated in the starry sky. Kanen's eyes widened with a hint of fear. This is impossible. How can you be so strong? The giant tree in the starry sky that was transformed into an ancient talisman and was comparable to the other shore realm was killed so easily. Lin Moyu's fighting power completely exceeded his imagination. Lin Moyu said with a hint of disdain, "The remnant soul is just a remnant soul after all. It is far inferior to the real Tianzuan. Even if Tianzuan's ancient talisman is broken, it can exist independently in the secret realm of evolution. As for the ancient talisman of the remnant soul, if it is broken, it will be broken, and nothing will be left." Lin Moyu looked at Remnant Soul. "It's your turn next." The soul-killing sword emerged, and the colorful water and the power of faith were once again stimulated. The soul-killing sword flashed away, and the remaining souls screamed in agony. But Lin Moyu frowned. The remnant soul seemed to be in pain, but in fact it was not hurt at all. The soul-killing sword is not weak. It can cause damage to the other side realm, but it cannot hurt the residual soul. The reason is that the remnant soul belongs to the remnant soul of the deity, and the level difference between the two is too big, just like his curse can make the peak deity feel pain and even interrupt the spell. In fact, it cannot cause effective damage. To attack the soul-killing sword is already the most powerful method. Unless corpse explosion is used, other techniques will be useless against it. Runes flashed in the starry sky, and the battle between Zaiwan and the undead army continued. The remnant soul burst into crazy laughter and pain. "Ha ha ha ha, you can't kill me, you can't kill me. You are trapped here and you can never escape." Your lifespan is limited. I, the Heavenly Lord, can wait for thousands of years until your lifespan ends. Advertisement. As he spoke, his remaining soul gradually faded and disappeared. As it disappeared, the rune also went out. This space fell into darkness, and there was no starlight left. The battle came to an abrupt end. Lin Moyu frowned. This guy actually hid. He can sense the remnant soul and lock on the remnant. In the battle just now, the bone held had marked the remnant soul silently. Even if the remnant soul is hiding now, it still can't escape Lin Moyu's lock. Now as long as Lin Moyu uses corpse explosion, he can kill the remnant soul. Lin Moyu believes that using the Supreme's corpse can cause enough damage to destroy the remnant soul of Tianzuan. But he didn't want to do this. It was too wasteful. It was not worth using his trump card on the remnant soul. The escape talisman cannot be used. I am indeed trapped. Can it really be trapped? It's just wishful thinking. Lin Moyu checked the escape talisman and found that it was indeed unusable. But as long as he is given time to deepen his understanding of the laws of space, he can also open the door to space and escape from the secret realm. There are ways to get out of trouble, but Lin Moyu doesn't want to use them either. Now that the fight has reached this point, Lin Moyu is no longer leaving, but thinking about how to destroy the remaining souls at the minimum cost. After thinking for a while, his attention finally fell on Fan Miezhong. The world-burning fire comes from the mysterious master's world-burning talisman. Different from ordinary runes, the world-burning fire has the power of virtuality and reality. It can burn the world, refine the world, and also burn the remaining souls zero. Try it. Lin Moyu's heart moved and he began to try to inspire burning world fire. The fire of burning the world has not yet fully grown, like a flower in bud. Lin Moyu now wants to let it bloom in advance and burn the world. The world tree obeyed Lin Moyu's will and dropped countless branches to wrap up the world-burning fire. The majestic soul power is injected into the burning world fire, stimulating its growth. Advertisement. The world-burning fire began to beat violently and became stronger and stronger. This kind of early stimulation, just like inducing birth, actually does not have much benefit. But there won't be much harm. At worst, I can redraw a world-burning talisman and create a world fire. Lin Moyu is a bachelor, and now he wants to kill the remaining soul. This guy deserves to die if he wants to take away his life. The fire grew stronger and stronger, and finally bloomed like a flower and turned into a blazing flame. Lin Moyu turned his palm upward, and a ball of flame appeared on his palm, exuding an indescribable aura. It looks somewhat similar to the immortal flame, both showing a gray color and without any temperature. But when everyone sees the fire that burns the world, they will have the fear that they will be burned to death. Go for it. 2.5 Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the world-burning fire suddenly exploded, silently across the entire space. Burn the world and refine the world. Lin Moyu doesn't know whether the world-burning fire can refine this secret space. It doesn't matter. The important thing is the world-burning flame, which can burn the soul of the dead. Screams came from the starry sky, and the remaining souls who were hiding did not escape the world-burning fire. It screamed in agony and was in great pain. Lin Moyu can clearly feel that it is being swallowed up and destroyed bit by the fire of burning the world. The remnant soul was once again revealed in the starry sky. It was rolling on the ground in pain, completely unlike what a heavenly lord should look like. Spare me, spare me. Remnant soul screamed, showing no sign of the majesty of the heavenly lord. Lin Moyu looked at it with cold eyes and said nothing. After all this, how could it be possible to spare it? Not only did he not spare it, Lin Moyu also enhanced his soul power, making the world-burning fire even more powerful. The remaining soul screamed in agony. Lin Moyu continued to increase the firepower, and he screamed louder. The remnant soul screamed, "Spare me, I will give you my inheritance." When I was burned to death, the inheritance was gone. It was the inheritance of Tianzuan. Lin Moyu has no sympathy. The remaining soul must die. Even if the inheritance is no longer needed, he must die. Even without inheritance, I can still step into heaven with my own strength. The cold voice extinguished the last hope of the remaining soul. Lin Moyu is determined to kill it. Even if the inheritance is no longer needed, he will still kill it. Lin Moyu's words made the residual soul go crazy, and it roared and rushed towards Lin Moyu. A giant python appeared in the starry sky, and its remnant soul transformed into a rune-based, killing Lin Moyu. The undead army can't stop it. This rune-based is at least as powerful as the other side. This is the last madness of the remnant soul. Once the remnant soul of Tianzuan becomes crazy, it will be extremely terrifying. Lin Moyu had long expected that it would be like this, so he calmly took out a 3-light talisman from the treasure ship's warehouse and activated it. Lin Moyu took one step forward and disappeared. Remnant Soul 06 seemed to have lost its mind and continued to pounce on Lin Moyu crazily, but Lin Moyu used the 3-light talisman to reach extreme speed. Teleport everywhere in the secret starry sky. The giant python transformed by the remnant soul cannot touch Lin Moyu no matter what. The fire that burned the world burned fiercely, and the remaining soul became weaker and weaker until the runes collapsed and the remaining soul was on the verge of death. I won't let you go. The remaining soul lingered and was about to issue the final curse. Lin Moyu sneered and suddenly activated his explosive luck technique. The luck of the remnant soul is revealed, with a value of 10, gray, and on the verge of death. Lin Moyu's luck sublimates like a dragon. There is a huge difference in luck between the two. Under the explosive luck technique, the curse of the remnant soul was interrupted. Advertisement. The fire that burns the world is burning, burning the remaining souls into ashes, and truly disappearing into ashes. Lin Moyu carefully sensed the cause and effect. After all, it was the remnant soul of the holy talisman. Lin Moyu did not want to form a causal relationship with the holy talisman. He guessed that the holy talisman Tianzuan should still be alive. If he formed a causal relationship with such a person, it would not do him any good. Fortunately, he did not feel the power of cause and effect. As soon as the remnant soul died, a large amount of starlight appeared again in the starry sky and the secret realm, bringing some light. Then a wood god flower appeared in the starry sky, a high-level wood god flower with 9 petals. With some doubts, Lin Moyu took the wood god flower in his hand and took out other wood god flowers at the same time. First, 10 high-level wood god flowers merged together to form a big god flower with 1 petal. Then the wood god flower, which had been fused before and had 10 petals, was fused with it again. The 12th petal then grew out and turned into a 12-petaled wood god flower king. The wood god cow in front of him was exactly the same as the one he had seen in the chamber air before. The whole flower is white and flawless, exuding a holy aura, and is more beautiful than the finest white jade. In the white light, there is also extremely pure soul power overflowing. Lin Moyu can be sure that after absorbing this wood god flower king, his soul will definitely rise to a higher level. Now his soul has just reached the late stage of the other shore realm, which is the level of the saint. However, in the level of saints, they are comparable to newly promoted saints like Fu Xingzuan. If it is absorbed, it is estimated that it can reach the perfection of the other side, comparable to the old saints like Hao Xingshou. Lin Moyu is not in a hurry to absorb Kao, the god of wood. After Kao, the god of wood, merges, the starry sky in the secret realm changes again. The starlight intertwined into a huge rune. This rune was 3-dimensional and was an ancient rune. Lin Moyu didn't recognize this ancient talisman, but he could see some clues from it. Advertisement. There seems to be another dimension hidden inside this ancient talisman. In the secret realm, hiding another dimension, a double dimension, is indeed not something ordinary people can do. Lin Moyu is not surprised that Xingfu Tianzuan has such a method. Little guy, you are very good. A familiar voice sounded, Lin Moyu's heart tightened, and he looked at the center of the ancient talisman. In the center of the ancient talisman, a Japanese figure slowly emerged. Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, also Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord. Moreover, this holy talisman Heavenly Lord also possesses a ray of soul. Lin Moyu looked at him with a strange expression and wondered what the holy talisman Heavenly Lord was doing. Holy talisman Tianzuan looked at Lin Moyu with a smile. Little guy, you don't need to look at me like this. The one you killed was indeed a ray of my soul, and this one is also a ray of my soul. Lin Moyu suddenly understood something. It turns out that Tianzuan had already made arrangements. He thought about how the holy talisman Tianzuan could leave such a big flaw. It turned out that the birth of self-awareness was not accidental, but inevitable. Behind it, the holy talisman Tianzuan is still in charge. After the holy talisman Tianzuan separated a ray of soul and nourished it with runes, he deliberately gave it the birth of self-consciousness. Then there was another soul monitoring everything from behind, just to see how his successor would respond. Lin Moyu said, "Aren't you afraid that I won't be able to deal with it? You must know that it is your soul, and it is not that easy to deal with." Holy talisman Tianzuan looked at Lin Moyu. "I believe you can handle it, or that person believes you can handle it." "That one?" Lin Moyu was shocked, and his first reaction was to think of the mysterious master. Holy talisman Tianzuan said, "You guessed it right, it's that one." Advertisement. Lin Moyu said, "But what's the point of doing this?" Holy talisman Tianzuan showed a smile. "It's up to you to think about this." Lin Moyu said, "Then you have a little more soul left to watch from behind and see what you want to do." Holy talisman Tianzuan said, "It's nothing, I'm just curious." Holy talisman Tianzuan has long since left this world and cut off all ties with this world. No matter how many remnant souls are left behind, it is impossible to get in touch with the main body, so there is no need for him to satisfy his curiosity. But Holy Talisman Tianzuan has a weird temper, and God knows what other ideas he has. Holy Talisman Tianzuan said, "Well, since you have passed the test and obtained the King of Flowers, the Wood God, I will pass on the inheritance to you." The King of Flowers, the Wood God, is a rare treasure that is effective for cultivators under the Supreme Being. The most rare thing is that it can continuously create clones, but the clones are only effective for people in the other side realm, which is quite useless. Whether you absorb it directly or plant it in your soul and continue to collect the Wood God flower is up to you. W. As he spoke, the Holy Talisman Tianzuan pointed his finger, and the ancient talisman evolved in the starry sky, eventually turning into a pearl and falling into Lin Moyu's hands. This bead contains an inheritance left here by this deity. As for the next inheritance, you will know it after you have understood it. Okay, I'm done. Before leaving, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. 17. This soul of mine knows a lot. Lin Moyu was not polite. He had just killed a piece of someone's soul, so he didn't need to be polite. He asked directly, "Senior, how can I repair the divine road?" Although Lin Moyu got the answer from the mysterious owner, he didn't give up and wanted to ask again. Holy Talisman Tianzuan answered directly without any hesitation, "The sacred road cannot be repaired. If it is damaged, we can only find another place to build a new one." As he spoke, his eyes sparkled with starlight and he looked towards the distant starry sky. After a moment, he sighed, "All the hundreds of sacred roads have been destroyed, and no new roads have been built. It seems that times are very difficult these days."